What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Recovery All-Stars. Man, this is awesome. I don't care who you are.
What a great
Can we just play the intro again?
Bro, I'll play that thing anytime you want. I'll tell you right now. I get excited about stuff like that. Maybe it's just because I made it, or maybe not. I don't know.
I love the intro.
Well done, Justin. Love it.
Thank you. Well, thanks guys for coming here. And let's see. I don't know, where is this? Oh, there we go. Comments. You guys just jumping on, say what's up. Let us know you're here. So this is how you guys what do you guys want to talk about? You got anything going on?
I want to talk about how damn big my water bottle is. Look at how giant that thing is.
Come on, bro. I got you. What's up? Gotta have the water, man.
You know, I think what we could talk about, we were talking about it a little bit before, actually, is recognizing the privilege that we've gained in our recoveries, recognizing the gifts that we've gained in our recoveries. As creators, we were sitting and we were talking about, like, oh, you know, I've only got this much reach, or I've only got this many followers. And like, you got to sit back and like, really, like, is that the biggest problem in my life today? Because like, I remember when I was scrounging through dumpsters just to get through the day, you know, and now I get to do all these things. I get to meet with wonderful people like this. And maybe that's something we can touch on. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah. I love that too, Dan. I was saying earlier that how privileged I feel to be connected with you guys. And I also want to acknowledge, you know, the thousands of people in my community that I walk out the front door who are representing recovery too. I guess I've just found a voice in this space online. And sometimes, sometimes I find like, I feel very lucky for that, you know, but I just want to say, like, everywhere I go in my community, I know thousands of people just in my local area who are in recovery, absolutely killing it as well. So I'm here to sort of represent them too, you know?
Yeah. Hey, let's just put this out there. Like, this is from all over the world, which is good. He's in the future right now. Danny's in the future. Like, I don't
all over the world and throughout time and space.
Yeah. What is it like in the future, Danny? Tell us.
It's just your normal average 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. The kid's home from school holidays. She's going to come and harass me in a moment. She's eating breakfast. It's all good. It's great. I love it.
That's what's awesome, man. I love, you know, it's really cool, man. Yeah, we could bitch about the, you know, the reach and this, that, and the other thing creators, but it's cool because we get to have technology like this and we can get connected, you know, and we can use this technology in good ways, bad ways. We can look at it this way, look at it that way. It's just how we look at it, you know, and I think it's awesome that we can connect with people that are in Wednesday and we're in Tuesday still, you know what I mean?
It is really cool, actually. So you and I, Justin, are here in Florida. Brad and Daniel are in Canada, and Danny is in Australia. And then how many people do we have? If you're in the comments right now, tell us where you're watching from. Like, it is so cool that this online recovery community that we have, right? I have the support of my recovery community here, but it's so much cooler that we have people all over the world recovering together in all different kinds of ways, which is even cooler.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Donna. We got Donna in the chat. Donna's in the chat.
Okay.
My wife.
Okay, I was gonna say that's the wife. Okay.
We got Twinkle. What's up, Twinkle?
There she is.
What's up, Heidi? Good to see you.
And we got
Joshua Sanders, the OG.
52 months.
I see Ron from The Truth About Addiction. He's in Australia too.
Yeah, the Ronald. Hey, Ronald.
My friend Onyx. Onyx is a how do I say this? She is a psilocybin sacred journey facilitator.
So what does that mean exactly?
Well, she doesn't like to use the word trip, but it is she works with psychedelics. She works with people to access parts of, I'm not going to tell you her job description. She uses psilocybin, which is magic mushrooms, to work with people.
Yeah, that's a new and upcoming thing. I think they have like sessions where you go and you do these sessions in a doctor's office and you go through this process. I don't know much about it either, honestly, but I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she's in a doctor's office, but yeah, and it's nor is it new. It's not new, but it is coming to the mainstream, and I think that's really good that it is, because there is some solid research behind working with psychedelics that goes way back. You know, like in Saskatchewan here in the 50s in Weyburn, they had a a hospital, and they did extensive research on LSD, and like that was 70 years ago. They've been working on this, you know. So to see it coming to the mainstream, and like to see ketamine now is there are places you can legally go and get ketamine therapy in Canada.
That's what I was thinking of. Okay.
It came across my feed. I was like, not today, Satan. I know what you're doing here. And I was like, damn, I feel depressed all of a sudden. For real, because like, hey, listen, I had my extensive research back in the day with ketamine and LSD.
Yeah, I think this was different. They wrote I'm sure they wrote stuff down and things like that, wore lab coats.
Oh, I wrote stuff down too. What not to do.
You can still go see it behind the convenience store. It's on the wall. Brad, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. Thanks for having me. This all-star lineup here.
Oh, just a little hand over waving behind my head here.
Guest appearance.
Oh,
Hi.
Yeah.
That's the real tech guy.
Yeah,
well, real hard knocks. That's the real hard knocks.
Yeah, he's definitely a part of it. I got to tell you, for sure he is. He was over here playing BeamNG or something. He got sick of listening to me, so I don't know where he's going.
So let me ask you a question. So being influenced, being on social media, doing all what you do, what's your recovery look like? Like, what does it look like to you? Like, what do you guys do to make sure that you're all right? Because this stuff can get really involved at times. And I know Brad is probably going buck wild over there with it, but
that's just life, man.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy, dude, but it's good, man. It's what we started out with the beginning, right? The blessings, man. You know, like with everything, being able to have been working on this shift about like have to and get to.
That's right.
You have to, you know, I mean, it's not an easy for me anyway. It's not the easiest of shifts to make.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like I get to do all this stuff today, and it's I mean, I couldn't imagine things.
Well,
any
and
other
that reminds me of like it's talking about language. Language is coming into the conversation a lot in my world, as far as like substance use and recovery and like. But I mean, even we can even go like past the substance use and recovery realm and talk about like when you're late for somewhere, instead of saying sorry I'm late, say thank you for waiting. You know, things like that. It just like the language. It changes the feel of the conversation, and it's so important.
It really does. We have that in my world too. I totally get that.
You know, I was on, I did a news report, you know, I got interviewed for a news report because they have like opiate settlement money coming out. And we're a nonprofit down here in Florida. And so they want to interview about what we're trying to do in the community, what's needed, what's the gap, stuff like that. So I was on the news thing. And afterwards I was like, oh my gosh, I need to change my language, because I just kept saying, and every time we do that, the identity, you know, it's an identity crisis that's how this whole thing is. An identity crisis is what we're putting our identity on. It's how we are a person, our beliefs, all that. So if we have this thing that we put on us, it's a stigma that we're putting on ourselves by saying it out loud, because no matter what we say, we're hearing it too. And it's literally keeping us in this box. So breaking down those languages is the most important thing. And when I got done with that news segment, I was like, man, I need to do homework. You know, I need to do boot camp, because it's
Steve, we're live, brother. Go put a shirt on. Holy shit now.
Yo, you
He does this every time.
Hey, can I just say on that, Justin, like, I think it's great to hear ourselves and learn from it too. But I also love that I can just be me, you know, like I was authentic and as real. And I do like who I am 13 and a half years down the track in recovery too. And I'm always open to learning more stuff and wanting to change my language to make it maybe more appropriate. But at the same time, whatever I'm doing, obviously working for me. So I love that as well. So I think it's definitely a blend of both, you know.
Well, you bring up a really good topic. So I had somebody message me last night and they said, do you think that you can be ever completely recovered? Right. And I know that that's kind of like a controversial topic throughout the rooms of NA and AA. But, you know, going back on the language piece, like what I'm learning now is that instead of I'm Sonya, I'm an addict. I'm Sonya, I'm a person who has misused substances in my past. You know what I mean? So instead of me being an addict, that happened in my past, but it's not me, but I think that that's a really slippery slope to get on, because you got to be ready for that part of your life. You know what I mean?
It has to be like a constructive way to talk. Like if you say, like, cause like I struggled with that for a while too. I'm Dan, I'm an addict. That's it rolls off the tongue, so to speak, and like I'm Dan and I'm a person who used to use substances, but now I don't anymore, but it's okay if other people do just because I don't. Like, I'm not going to like take your hand and say that shit. You know what I mean? So, it's definitely, and I lost my train of thought. Someone else talk.
Do you think you can be recovered from addiction completely?
There it is. Yes.
Not me. I need to work every day,
I think, well, no, and I'm not like, so here's how I think about that. Like, for me, it's like, am I recovered from my substance use disorder? Am I recovered from the harms that came from my substance use disorder? I don't know if I've completely healed from the things that happened, because some really bad things happened. But I mean, when we say the word recover, that means like getting back what we had before. And I've come to a place where I've never seen the shit that's in my life. So how can I recover that? How can I I think that, like, to be from recovery and into discovery, right? Like, I'm discovering a new life now. This is not, I don't want to be who I was before the substances. Like, what a waste of lessons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that, bro. That's a great, Dan, that's a great point. What you just said, recover from what? Like, when I picked up, I was a mess. So I don't want to recover back to that. The life I've got today is a lot beyond my wildest dreams. And but I just, on that note, like, I am happy to consider that I have, because like I see anything that changes the way I feel, that feels good, I abuse it. Like, anytime I do. So imagine if I picked up a drink or a drug again. I thank God I'm not interested anyway, but I'm happy to believe that I can not do that, and I'm constantly trying to improve myself. I have not recovered. I'm recovering. I'm happy with that. For me, it just works.
Whatever works. And I was actually talking, what I just saw Donna's comment come up on the screen there. And she was saying the other day, she's like, in my 40s with 2 kids, I have more freedom now than I did when I was in my 20s. So, and I should say, with 2 kids in my 40s in recovery, or, without the drugs, however you want to talk about that.
Or when the kids are asleep.
Yeah. When they go to sleep, all I want to do is go to sleep. Quiet now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like the recovering, all that stuff. It's like, man, I think that, like, shit, I was just in a spout, a couple months ago, man. And I was like, it was a freaking bad spot for me, and that shows me that I'm not. And thank God that I do have a program and something that I believe in order for me to see through those times, because this isn't perfect. Life is life. It's going to show up. It's just my solution's gone. The solution that I used to numb the reality of what is, because I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to handle life. I didn't know how to handle kids. I didn't know how to be a dad. I didn't know how to be this. I had to be this perfect person. And when I wasn't, it was a shit show. And then I wanted to numb all that. And like, people found me out, and I just, that's why I know that I still have so much work to do, no matter what. And 5 years into this thing, man, the shit. And even close, 23 years minus the 5 does not equal nothing. You know what I mean? That's how I think, man. That's my thinking, and that's why I keep doing it. And when I'm in those spouts, man, I know exactly what to do, because it's that support system. It's huge, man. Right. Support system's huge for me.
Yeah, you got new solutions today.
You got to throw that comment from Alexander up. Alexander Major. That's a good one. Alexander says, at some point we put it into remission. We no longer need to treat it every day. There is always a chance for a re-diagnosis, but we learn a lot to stop it from growing inside us again.
That's good.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Brad, you haven't said much. Brad, what do you think about that?
I usually don't say much.
Mm.
I mean, for me, to each their own, but for me, rents due every day. Yeah, I mean, that's the way I like, because I can't risk to go back to the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just just a 1 or 2 type fella. It's all or nothing, and I burn it down to the ground pretty quick. So that's just what works for me. But when I say that too, I don't mean that like my life, because I've been at this for 13 years. And I don't say that in a sense that my life's revolving around like, oh, I need to stay sober today. But I have a routine in place, and I do dang near the same thing every single day. If you were a fly on the wall at my place, you'd be extremely bored because you wouldn't see much out of the ordinary, because I just stick to a schedule. I stick to a routine, and it's really like amped up and improved my life over the last 5 years for stuff, whether it's reading and then it becomes a point of like self-development to where I just, over the years, you distance yourself from, what it used to be like.
And that's kind of where I'm at. Again, we want to look back at language. Like people are like, I work on my sobriety every day. Well, I don't use the word sobriety anymore. I say like things like the way I think about it is like, I work on my wellness every day. And I don't. I'm saying that as an example, but I don't.
It's the truth. There it is.
Come on, man.
I should. I need to. Well, I know Donna's watching, and I know that she sees all of me. So,
Donna, tell us what's really going on.
She'll come blasting in behind me here. He's full of shit. Don't listen to him.
Please do.
Yeah. So, but I aspire to. I certainly aspire to. And when I do, like when I get up and I go to the gym, man, the other night, holy cow, the culmination of all of the work that I've done came to a head in a certain way. Like I've done a lot of work, and I put some dollars in the bank, and I was able to buy a Sea-Doo, and I got a wakeboard, and it's not a brand new one. Like I'm not driving a Lamborghini over the, but like the other night I went out, and the lake was glass, and the sun was setting, and my family was on the Sea-Doo. Donna was driving, and our little girl was behind her, and my son was watching me, and it was just like so beautiful. Like this is it, man. This is heaven. I was on the wakeboard, and you go away from the machine, all you can hear is the water going over the wake. It just gets so quiet. And then I got gassed, and this was so beautiful. And I let go of the rope, and they didn't stop. My son he was 10, he's 9, right? And he's like spaced out on the sunset. He's supposed to be watching me. So now I'm in the river, in the lake, all happy and peaceful, and my family is driving away from me and not coming back. and my son's just spaced out looking at the sunset. but yeah, it was beautiful, man. Like, and what a gift! Like, what a gift of recovery. Like you point that drive that you have, right? Like everybody wants to feel better, right? Like that's why we got into it. We needed something to feel better. And when we learn to point that desire to feel better in the right direction, you get the fuck out of our way. Like nothing will stop us,
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing that I've learned, like I'm always going to have this compulsion to feel better. I'm always going to have this compulsion for instant gratification. Now, can I learn to control it? Yeah, I can. Not perfectly. There's going to be lots of days where I would every day, I wish I had something better, and that's the truth. I think that might be part of human nature. Maybe that's not even an addiction thing. Maybe that's a human condition,
Well, I will say that anything, we could take anything, it's to the extreme. It's taking things to the extreme is the problem. That's where the addiction comes in. We as humans, we want better. We want to do better. We want to evolve. It's just the way it is. It's when we take it to the extreme, like up here, that's when it becomes the problem. I can make anything healthy, unhealthy. Super quick.
Yep. Same.
Super quick. But like eating, dieting, the working out, like I'm like,
Yeah.
and it's like, and then I'll quit. Because it's come too much. I can't, like Brad said, it's either all or nothing. And like finding where that middle ground is, that's where we want to be like, I want to be like this, you know what I mean? Riding the waves,
Yeah. But I will say this, I did not go and steal a truckload of copper to buy my Sea-Doo.
Growth.
Yes.
I've done that before.
Yes. It was aluminum. No.
Hey, anybody watching, if you guys would do subscribe on them YouTube channels, hit
Oh,
that
look at
subscribe button.
Goddamn
Oh,
beautiful
wow.
layover right there. Look at
Look at
that.
that.
Yeah. And by the way, like if y'all are watching
Yeah.
at whatever channel you're watching on, whether it's the Hope Shot, I mean, there's 5 of us here with 5 different channels. Like check us all out. You know, we got Justin on
Right.
the Hope Shot, we've got Brad on Sober Motivation, we've got Sonya. Yours is also called Hope Shot, isn't it? On
It's
Facebook?
called Sonya Johnson.
It's called Sonya Johnson. Okay.
Yeah.
And Danny Shannon. Is that the name of your channel?
I believe so. Yeah, Danny Shannon.
I hope it is.
It is, Danny. I've subscribed to you.
Yeah. And of course, Dan is here on Hard Knocks Talks. So yeah, check us all out. We've all got a little bit different flavor. There's something for everybody. You know, I'm sure if you don't like one of ours, check out someone else.
Different flavors.
Oh, yeah. Don't get weird, Justin. Don't get weird.
I have to, man. It's part of it.
Guys, we'll have to put this on at 11. This
Yeah,
is
like,
be sober after dark.
What kind of flavors?
You guys,
Yes, now you're talking my
yeah,
language.
I used to. That actually is like a traumatic thing though, because I used to stay up all night and doing cocaine, and I used to watch that Poker After Dark.
Oh, I
Tiny-
did too. I know
yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what you're
It was
talking
the only
about.
thing that was on. Like, 15
You
years
had
ago.
like antenna TV because you didn't have cable, and that's why you were watching it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Poker After Dark. So I was like, yeah, it was just bring. It's
Oh
it's,
man, I need to
amazing.
do more cocaine to watch this.
I don't
Watch
even know if it's
gambling.
even a thing anymore. I don't know. I just remember they would have the one alcohol that sponsored it, and it was all they talked about was like everything was this company, and I'm like, oh, I didn't pay any attention at the time, but I was like, oh, now looking back, I'm like, wow, it was just consumed with that. But yeah, that was like that was a wild story, man.
Oh, we
Oh, I
got
saw
Barb. We've got Dr. Barb Hornsler in the chat. What's up, Dr. Barb? Trying to convince her to
Bringing the
start a
flavor.
Facebook page. Yeah, she's a substance use researcher, good friend of mine at University of Saskatchewan. We're trying to get her into the social media racket.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
you need a Facebook page. Yeah,
Yeah, like Dr. Phil, except like cool and about drugs mostly.
Yeah. Hey, you know, it's another thing. It's like, man, you know what blows my mind? Okay, so I did a panelist discussion like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago for the Opiate Town Hall. And I'm sitting up there with the Pasco County. Now I'm a community leader now. And I'm sitting up there with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office. That's my county. And like the head of Bay Care, one of the heads of Bay Care, you got the dean for this college that were there, and the EMS, like the captain, and I'm over here like, who the hell put me up here with these people? Like that imposter syndrome is real.
exactly
I'm
what
telling
it
you
is.
right now. And I'm not supposed to be here, man.
Yeah.
You dialed the wrong number, sent the wrong email.
Sometimes that's another place where I need to check myself, right? Because like back in the day, I didn't have friends, and I didn't have friends that were trying to move forward in their life or serve community in any capacity. And now it seems like that's all that I have. Like my friend Barb, for example. I mean, she's PhD. You know, I had a PhD in the studio just the other day. We were talking about the power of language. National advocates I talk with all the time. You know, like I not that he would answer, but I have like the mayor of Saskatoon. I have his cell phone number in my phone. He gave it to me. He probably wouldn't answer it, but yeah, I have it.
You might though. You could send him a
I don't
text.
think he wouldn't have given that to me back in the day. Like I promise you that.
Justin, did you get a little bit ghetto on him? Did the old ghetto-ness come out or no?
No,
You
man. I
kept it
kept
professional.
It's classy, bro. And I
Yeah.
freaking, like going to these things. I still have social anxiety so bad, right? And I'm
Yeah.
going up there, and that imposter syndrome, like it comes creeping up in anxiety, right? And I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna say? Are you gonna say something good? And then like I'm like have all these things going through my head. I'm like, breathe. Luckily, I have been doing a morning practice. I've been doing meditation every single morning for the last 60 days. And this is how I came out of my stuff. Okay.
Man, I wish I could do that.
I'm listen, it's a practice. All you have to do is just do it. Don't
So how do
you know,
you do
it's
it?
not
I wanna
wishing
know.
for it, I promise you. It's Insight Timer. They have an app. It's called Insight Timer. I sit there with my headphones every single morning. I find a couple people, like I'm doing manifestations right now, because our language, manifesting into our lives. What we say and what we do or what we believe is gonna manifest in our life. It's just the way it works. It's the law. You know what I mean? It's law. So
Yeah.
if we feel like we're not going to go anywhere, we're not going to go anywhere, because we're literally making that come true by saying it out of our mouth, believing in our minds, and how we talk to other people about who we are and what we do. It's so true. And in 60 days, I promise you right now, it's done a 180 in my life, because I literally get up in the morning. I go out here, I get a coffee, I go out there, I sit on the couch, and I do 30 minutes of meditation where I just sit there and I listen either to a talk or I do breathing exercise. And I'm telling you right now, it's a game changer for me, because I had so bad anxiety. Like I'm telling you, I was riddled. It was so bad. I wasn't doing nothing. And I'd have panic attacks, like really bad. And I just couldn't take it anymore. It's either I was going to use, or I was going to freaking lose my mind, or whatever. So I did something about it. That's just what we do these days. Right. And
That's right.
I'm telling you that meditation's a game changer for people. I'm telling you.
That's cool, because I definitely have anxiety. Like you wouldn't know it because we're always on social media all the time, but like walking into big crowds and stuff, it's not really for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's even worse, because like we have to put on this face, and it's like, and then you know, it's 10 times with social media, 10 times it, because electronics, man, it does something.
Oh, don't. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I have to. We have to. We're being real here, bruh.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do a breathing exercise.
All right. It really does. It's helped. It's been a game changer for me. Like, and it's my friends Nate and Caesar and Kelly. They have helped me with that, and to see that it works. And like I've done it before, but then I'm like, this is stupid. Nobody around. I talk about it a lot too.
I love the meditation too. I do about 3 days a week. But one thing I do, and I have been doing for at least the last 10 years, is every morning I'm in the gym for an hour or an hour and a half. And I truly think, because apart from those 3 days meditation I do, I don't have a practice like you just said, Justin. But I think for me, being at the gym every morning, and like, for example, if you're lifting heavy weight, you kind of have to be in the moment, because otherwise you're going to drop that weight on your head. So I feel like that is my form of meditation. And furthermore, I walk down those stairs most days feeling a little bit pumped, a little bit the endorphins. And I think that's been my whole recovery. That's been my given. That's the thing that, like, because they talk about mental, physical, and spiritual, and I think that's my mental and my physical stuff. So, and I just say that because I heard you talking about the anxiety, and you too, Sonya. I guess I don't get that much. And when I do get anxious, I need to ask myself, have I eaten? Because that's normally the reason I get anxious, when I haven't eaten. I get on a bit of a mission.
Here's a Snickers, Danny. Calm down.
Yeah, or a Mars a day. But yeah, so whatever your practice is, like, I find the routine has been incredibly important. And I've got to say, while I get my kid ready for school and all the chaos and that, I am anxious. But the minute I drop her off and I can go to the gym, it's like, it's just life. And I've learned to just balance that in such a way to try and make it good.
And it's like, and physical activity does that for me as well. And I think that's why I had such a moment out on the lake there the other night, because like, it's always been, like I've always been waiting. You want that when you're wakeboarding. And I'm not like a professional wakeboarder. I can barely get out of the water, like I'm not jumping wakes or anything like that. But like, I've always been waiting for that perfect experience, right? And it came. And like, when you're balanced on a wakeboard being pulled behind someone, you're in the moment. You have to be, or you will have water up your butt. Right. I promise you that. But I remember when I used to train, I used to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And it's been it was before COVID, and COVID sort of, came to fruition, so to speak. And I never really went back. But I remember thinking, like, nothing will put you in the moment faster than a big dude on top of you trying to choke you out.
All right.
Like, you are in that shit. Do not want to be distracted.
Hey, Donna says our subconscious is more powerful than our conscious, and it is also highly susceptible to subliminal messaging, both positive and negative. And then she put, if you can retrain the sub, your conscious thoughts will flow. And that's it. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
What are you manifesting now, Justin?
No anxiety. That's it. And being content with life. That's what I'm manifesting. My life is good, but I can't see it because I'm so up here with what I'm not instead of seeing what I am. You know what I mean? And it's just that's something I battle with often. And so the meditation has helped me. Now I do physical stuff too. Like I eat healthy. I was in the gym, dude. I was getting it right. And then I stopped. That's just how I am because the mental stuff, I was working this out and I wasn't working this out. So it's a healthy balance. Like I'll do physical, like I have beach body. That's what I do. I don't like going to the gym. I'd rather do it at home. You know what I mean? And I do 10 minutes, but I do it with my wife. You know what I mean? That's like, we do it together. So
is that like one of those exercise videos?
Yeah, it's beach body. Is like, they give you, but they have like bodybuilding ones. Like you can do weights. Like we have weight benches, we have weights, we have curl bars, we have everything you could possibly think of. And but my buddy Caesar, he's just like you. He uses the gym as his meditation. Like he is hardcore every day, no matter what, doing big boy, but he's looking good, boy.
Oh my.
He's looking good.
And what, you're not, Justin? Come on, man.
Nah, bro. I'm actually clean eating right now because I ate too much freaking ice cream and desserts the last 2 weeks. And I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, just one more.
There's a good question in the comments there, Onyx.
Okay. Read it.
Onyx says, question for you all. If you could go back in time and speak with your 10-year-old self, what would you say about your experience in life with addiction and your healing journey to recovery?
Hmm.
You know, I know what I wouldn't say. I wouldn't go back and say, don't do drugs.
Right.
No.
I agree with you.
Mhm.
Well,
I would
me
say
too.
just hold on. It's going to hurt, but it's going to be worth it, you know, because I wouldn't want to go back and change anything, even though many people have been hurt by my story. Like if anything, I would change the fact that I hurt my children. Other than that, I'm happy that everything turned out the way that it did, because I would not be the person I am without every single experience that I've been through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough, you know, when we talk about that and we talk about going back, like if we're going to talk about and tell 10-year-old us, that would change the course of our lives. And then in essence, we wouldn't be who we are now. So it's tough, you know, like, what do you, I don't know what I would say. Like, be careful for sure. I would say, be careful. And I might say something like, you don't need the people and the women in your life that you think you do, man. You don't need that shit. You're just fine without them, you know? Because I used to try to make my identity about who I was around, right? Who was in my life.
Right.
And for some reason, I didn't want like what I now know is the positive and healthy people. Like I wanted to be part of the bad crowd. I wanted to like, you know, get recognized for the bad things that I could do or how much I could drink or smoke, not for like how good I could do in school and how well I could serve community, you know, like, so how the times have changed, but
or how many times you went to jail or how big your charges were. And
I went to cells a few times. I never got that bad.
Yeah. What do you think, Brad? 10-year-old self.
Yeah. I'm just trying to look at the question here to make sure I'm getting it right here. What would you say about your experience in life with addiction and your healing journey to recovery? If I was going back and talking to my 10-year-old self, I mean, I'm with all of you. Like, I think if we were to go back and change one little thing, like we've all heard the expression, football is a game of inches. I think life is too. And I mean, it literally, like, I mean, you leave your house a few minutes at a different time and good or bad things could happen either way. It could literally be a few seconds. And I think that that's the same with our story. So if I've ended up at a place where I'm content with. So and I share the same thing as Sonya. Like some people were definitely hurt, my folks, and relationships. And there was definitely a lot of bridges burned, but you know, I mean, it would just be to hang in there. I think it would be like more about like not being accepted in the world. I would just be like, hey, like this shit doesn't matter. You know, when I was in high school, not really probably when I was 10, but I might not have been aware of it. But I thought shit that didn't matter in life mattered in life. You know, I thought that fitting in and being cool and doing well in school was what mattered. And then what I found out afterwards is that doing well in school, fitting in and making the high school soccer team actually meant nothing. You know, when I look back at, you know, the ripe age of 34, it absolutely means nothing. And I thought at the time that stuff mattered. So I think if I were to like look back and, you know, the whole addiction, everything aside, I would just be like, yo, find your own lane and stay with it. Right. You don't have to do this, you know, because that's what led me to the whole thing of addiction and everything. Right. Because when I went to my first party and they cracked open the cooler of this Everclear and this juice and this pineapple and all this shit was in this
Everclear.
Cooler. Yeah. And I, you know, I had no idea. I never drank booze. My folks never drank in front of me or anything like that. And but I mean, when I had the first couple of drinks for about 2 hours, I felt like I was on top of the world. I was talking to girls. I was everybody's best friend. It was like, dude, you belong in this world. And you, for once, every insecurity and uncomfortable anxiety and everything we talked about was gone. And I was like, yo, like, why didn't I hear about this before? You know, so and it was all that stuff that led me up, right? And then I kind of found a solution to my problem, and that escalated, you know, as time went on. But I think it would be that is like try to focus on your worth not being in other people's hands. You know, because I left it up to other people to be like, hey, you guys tell me how much I'm worth. And we've all heard that story of it's like a car. They shared on Facebook. It's like one car, but you go to a pawn shop and the guy offers you $1,000 bucks, and you go to like your buddy and he offers you $2,000, but you go to like this old school veteran car collector and he's like, oh dude, this car is worth $1 million, you know? So I think it's all about, you know, where you go and stuff. I could go on and on, you know, I mean, there's tons of stuff, lessons, you know, over the years that I've learned, and a lot of them the hard way, probably all of them, you know, but I don't know. I couldn't go back and change anything though, because I might have never ended up where I ended up, you know, which is like, it's wild for me to say that and think that sometimes, you know what I mean? But that's
you know, I think I might try to instill some sense of the importance of family, because like I didn't understand that. And sometimes I still don't understand that, how important family is and was, and how the experiences that I probably missed out on because I was so detached by my own doing from family. So
yeah, I will say that, you know, like one thing that I held on to for a while was with my mom passed away from this, and she passed away alone. It sucks, man, you know, and I wasn't clean until after the fact, and it was just a shit show. But you know, I sometimes I hold that guilt that's like, man, why couldn't I save? You try to have that survivor's guilt, you know, and it's real, you know, and that's something that I guess spending more time with family would have been a better thing, but my family was so dysfunctional. It was just so dysfunctional. Drugs and alcohol were like, that's what it was. It was like, and I was on the street at 14. So, you know, I've been on my own since, you know, then, you know, and I got in a lot of trouble, but I'd probably say exactly what Brad said, man. It's like, don't put your worth in somebody else's hands, you know, and everything led me up to this point, like the Back to the Future kind of deal. You know, you change one thing, the picture erases, like, and that's true. Like, I would never be here. I would never be here doing this. I would never have my wife that I have now. That's the most healthy relationship I think I've ever had in my freaking life. You know what I mean? Like, it blows my mind where I'm at, but like, so I had to go through all that to get to this. And then it sucks, but it's awesome because listen, this is a survival guide for somebody else now. And I hate that cliche sometimes. It's like, it's a survival guide, but it's so true. Like, you know, and you just help people along the way. Like, yo, man, you ain't got to bump your head that many times. And I didn't have somebody to tell me, hey, you ain't got to bump your head that many times, you know, a mentor. We need mentors in our lives, you know, and I didn't have, I have daddy issues, you know what I mean? I have big time daddy issues, and I didn't have that in my life, you know, growing up. It was always formed around alcohol, or I wasn't good enough, or this, that, and the other thing. And to just say, hey man, it's going to be all right. And you are good enough. You know what I mean? Like, be that big brother for somebody. So,
Yeah.
So
What about Shannon?
Yeah.
What about you, Shannon? What would you say to the young lad? The young lad from Australia.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Not surprised, but I was really happy to hear that we all kind of said straight away the same thing, that we wouldn't change anything other than hurting our families, because again, like you guys said, I'm really happy with where I am right now, and I couldn't be here if it wasn't for my past. It's literally my past that got me here. But like similar to what Sonya said, I would also just it's been difficult. Like 17 years of the pain, hurt, and misery that I went through was not an easy thing to go, and I don't wish that on anybody. So I'd say to hold on, hold on, try and it's going to be a rough journey, but it's definitely going to be worth it. For me also, recovery has been really difficult too. Like the first 5 years maybe of recovery, the anxiety attached to that. If I might just say, in 17 years of me hurting myself, I actually never thought about really hurting myself until I entered recovery, because it wasn't like I hadn't experienced those raw emotions that you feel in recovery in my addiction. It was just a blur. I was just stoned. It wasn't until I got clean and I'm standing at the bus stop and full of fear, anxiety, sadness, anger, hurt, that I felt like walking out in front of that bus, So like recovery's been even more difficult, but I just want to say to hold on, hold on, because so cliche, but don't leave before the miracle happens, and the best is yet to come, because today, because of those experiences of experienced stuff beyond my wildest dreams. And I also look at people way down the track and I think, wow, I want what they've got. Imagine if my life does continue to get better. I want some of that, that's the addict in me. Just lastly on that as well, like still quite a bit down the track, I've still got that, the disease of more and next. Like I'm always, what's next? What's next? My life is so good, but I want to know what's next.
Yeah.
And I want a little bit more. I want just a little bit more,
I was talking about that just the other day. In fact, I'm talking about it more and more. Yeah. I don't care what I'm doing. I want to be at the next place. I could have absolutely nothing going on. Like, I'll take my dog for a walk, right? Nice, peaceful walk. And it won't matter if I have nothing to do after it. I am rushing. I am rushing to get that walk over with so that I can get on to the next thing. And there isn't a next thing. So like, I feel that.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll change. Hopefully it will change, but whatever.
Hey, there's some Sonya, did we hear from you for this 10?
Yeah, I just was saying that I don't know if I would change a thing, honestly. And truthfully, no matter really what you would have said to me, or even if I would have said it to myself, I probably still wouldn't have listened, because I was pretty hard-headed when I was younger. So I had to learn for myself, but yeah, I was just saying, I don't think I would change anything, because I wouldn't be here if I did.
Yeah. I'm going to hear, I got some people in the comments. I'm going to read a couple of these real quick. Got Josh Sanders says, I want to tell myself that your life will be miserable and lonely for many years. Once you find recovery, life is amazing. However, I'm afraid it would change the way life turned out. Exactly what we all.
So true. Love it. Love it, Joshua.
Let's see, we have Twinkle says, I was already molested by 10. My life began in trauma even before that. I tell me it doesn't really get better, but there's a lot of joy along the way too.
Oh, bless you, Twinkle. Much love. Can't imagine.
We got Melissa says, I'd say to my 10-year-old self, things are going to get rough. Hang in there. And when a group of people come along who are wanting to walk the path with you, let them in. They are the unity you'll need.
You know what? And I just want to say something about that too. Like the group of people that she's talking about, like I would have never clinged on to recovery the way that I did if I weren't so outcasted, right, from the rest of the world when I was in my addiction. But that was literally what made me buy into recovery. Like there were all these people that just wanted to help me stay clean, and they didn't care what I had in my pocket or what I had between my legs, or they didn't care about none of that. Like they just wanted to see me succeed, and that is what did it for me. Like that's why I bought in.
Me too.
You know, I think like for me, it was a matter, like as far as what brought me into recovery, I think it was the opportunity became available and my understanding of it became clear. And that just sort of aligned at the same time. You know, my mom has been in the addictions field for 40 years, and you know, she watched me go through all that. And at the very end, she came and she took me out for lunch, and she started plotting. She's like, Dan, you need to go back up north and work. Dan, you need to get a home. Dan, you need to go to the ministry and get your son back and all this stuff. And I stopped her. I'm like, don't I need to get sober first? And she's like, yes, you do. And she pulled out the form. It was already all filled out and everything. She's like, she put it on the table. She's like, sign that shit right there. Sign it. And I did. And in that moment, like the opportunity became available, like right in front of me with no barriers. Like the door was fucking open. And I walked through it, you know, like I'd had enough and it was there. And it was kindness. You know, it was kindness. Yeah. Kindness saves lives. People want to talk about harm reduction. Take harm reduction away and put kindness in there. Kindness saves lives. Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. And it doesn't cost anything. We got Alexander says, my mom passed 7 years ago today, and I'm learning to let go of the fact that I wasn't sober, even had my license back before she passed. It's hard because she lost my 2 months old sister to a drunk driver.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that, Alexander. And, you know, I can just share that, I mean, this is not exactly the same, but the first time that I ever used drugs was the week that my grandfather passed away. And he was like my dad, right? You know, he was there for me when I was a kid, where my dad wasn't so much in the picture. And I always beat myself up so much for that, you know, and it is part of what led me to addiction. But when I got clean, like I found ways to be able to make what I call like a living amends to him and to make him proud, right? Because I believe that he still can see me. Like I believe that he's proud of me and he knows that I'm doing well, and I get to honor his life by staying clean, you know. And for me, that helps, not a lot, but a little, you know. It does help me a little to know that.
I say, and that's where I'm at too with that. So like, yeah, I mean, I couldn't save my mom, right? And I couldn't, you know what I'm doing? I'm stopping the cycle with my kids. Like I'm literally stopping the cycle. I'm not passing on my trauma to my kids. And that's the best living amends that I got. And that's good enough, you know, to all the people that passed away that I can't give that amends to, you know, like my grandma, my mom, the ones that actually got the probably the worst of it, to be honest with you. And it's always the people that you love the most, right? You know, and it's not their fault. We're just really hurting inside, and we don't know how to deal with it, you know? And so like, that's what I'm doing. It's like my living amends is to make sure my kids know they're loved and know that they have a safe place to go. And like, I'm here for them, sober, freaking clean, whatever you want to call it, and sound mind. You know what I mean? Right. Because I could be clean, I could be a dry drunk, and I could be passing on trauma still. Because I'm not dealing with what's going on here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We got Dear Recovery. When I heard we'll love you until you learn to love yourself is what made all the difference. I never knew how to love myself. I was accepted for me. And we have Alexander says, thank you, Sonya. I appreciate that. Great advice. I'm learning to take what my mom gave me in lessons and memories and use them to keep her alive with me.
I love that.
You know, when Dear Recovery there says, we'll love you till you learn to love yourself. I can kind of relate to that in a little bit of a different way. Cause I know when I look back at my experience in the recovery community, because like I drank the juice, man. Like I got sober and I drank the juice and I was all in. Like I was blue flaming, big book thumping,
Yeah.
all of it.
Blue flaming.
Blue flaming, just shooting. The biggest thing that I think that I took away, like, yes, of course, there are some very important principles being taught in those books and in the literature and in all of the suggestions, but it gave me a place to go when I had nowhere else to go and be sober, and to learn how to be sober in a community, how to interact, how to build relationships. Like I got so much more than just the program out of that. It just was a place where I could go and feel safe enough to practice being a human being, you know?
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I like the way that you worded that, to practice being a human being, right? Like the rooms that I went to when I found recovery taught me how to be a mom. They taught me how to be employable. They taught me how to be a friend. I haven't really burned any. I mean, sure, I've had some stuff happen where some people have pissed me off, but you know, I haven't really like burned any bridges or screwed anybody's man or, you know, any of that other crazy shit I used to do to my
On
old
their
friends.
TVs.
Right.
Yeah. Help them look for it.
That part.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. It's like when you first get in the recovery, it's like you're still suspect, right? Of these people that want to be your friend, but then they do stuff for you, and you're like, all right, what's the catch, bro? You know what I mean? Like, and you had to like let those guards down eventually, but it was definitely suspect, you know, letting those friends in, because I know what I did to my friends. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I was really weirded out by it for years. Like when I say weirded out, like I was just like, what? People would ring me up day after day. I'd go, what do you want, bro? Like, why day you keep ringing me? And then one day he said to me, Justin, he still rings me. He said to me, Danny, why are you always trying to get off the phone to me? And I thought, he put me in my place a bit. I thought, well, because I don't really want to talk to you, but at the same time, it's like, you make me feel uncomfortable, because I was really, really, really awkward. You know, the reason that awkwardness that I felt in the early days of my recovery, that's why I used heroin for so long, to counteract that awkwardness. But eventually I realized it's kind of all a bit of a give and take too. And it's really important. Community, that old saying, the opposite to addiction is connection. You know, you need to learn. I needed to learn to take a bit of that connection, because that's where my wellness started to come, and I started to have a bit of hope and understand that life actually is more than what I thought it was. You know? So yeah.
Hey, whoever's watching right now, if you're getting something out of what we're talking about, hit that like button at the bottom of the screen. If you're not subscribed to whatever channel you're watching this on, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. We've got 5 creators here on tonight. We're all watching, we're all streaming to our own channel. So whatever channel you're watching on, we've got Justin from The Hope Shot. Give them a sub. We've got Brad from Sober Motivation. We've got Sonya Johnson with Sonya Johnson channel. I don't know. Danny Shannon with the self-named channel, of course. Daniel here from Hard Knoxs Talks. Go give us all a sub. We've all got a little bit different things going on, but we're all after the same thing. We're all after bringing a little hope to the community, bringing a little information to the community, and bringing us all together. So thanks for all your help.
Definitely.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Well, so I think that's a pretty good one, man. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the head, buddy.
Hey.
That's the pitch, the elevator pitch.
I get it. I got
Finger
it now.
guns.
Got it.
And you can leave your bank card in the comments, guys.
Yeah. Oh, we got the super chat on the Hard Knoxs channel. If you're watching on Hard Knoxs, hit that super chat, drop a couple bucks, help us keep the lights on.
Yeah.
Hey, and hey guys, I guess we're gonna be doing this once a month, right? What are we doing?
Yeah.
We're gonna do this once a month. If you guys have any suggestions that you guys want to hear us talk about, let us know. Hit them in the comments, and or you could inbox us, any one of us that are in here, and let us know if you have any suggestions for any topics. We're always open for new ideas and new conversations as well. So. Anyways, that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you all for being here.
One more time. If you want to share this message with your community, why don't you go ahead and share this stream to Facebook? Get it out there. You never know who might need to hear it.
Exactly. Thanks,
Yeah.
Daniel. All right,
No,
guys.
don't do anything with Facebook. That's why we're here. Forget about no free stuff on Facebook.
Brad, you got a resentment.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Share it to Facebook. Too.
All right, y'all. Take it easy.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
you guys.
Bye.